Are you dealing with headaches that run around the base of your skull on the back side? Maybe they run around on the front of your head, across your eyes, across here. Are they keeping you awake at night? Do they make it difficult to turn your head or even just to think straight during the day? Well, today I've got some good news. We're going to talk about why you get those headaches and some things you can do to stop that. Hey, I got a favor to ask you. I've noticed that on my analytics that about 88% of you are watching the videos but haven't subscribed. Please do me a favor, would you please subscribe to my video channel, because by doing that it gives me the opportunity to do bigger and better videos for you guys to help you really get to this point. And once you subscribe and ring that bell, you then will be aware of when every new video comes out each week. And you can also leave comments and we can talk about things that are going on with you, and hopefully I can give you some insight to help you solve what's going on. But please, again, subscribe, ring the bell, and always leave comment. Thank you. Welcome back to the Muscle Repair Shop. Nothing's worse than to have to deal with a nagging headache that is pounding in your head that can just drive you batty. I remember having a headache one night that I woke up in the middle of the night and I felt like my head was just going to explode. So I get it. I get there. Today I want to talk about what causes those headaches to happen. In fact, I'll even share in the case that I had what caused that headache to happen and how I was able to stop it within 20 to 30 minutes of it waking me up and then go back to sleep and not have it reoccur. So let's get into what are the causes, what are the things that can happen with that. So let me be clear here. I'm not talking about a migraine headache. And a migraine headache, many times there's other things that play a role with that, but the muscles can also contribute to the intensity of it. And so what we're going to do today is talk about how to reduce that intensity. You see, sometimes you can get headaches from having allergies to food or allergies to things in the air, but most of the time for most people, the headache comes on from the muscle system and the shoulders going up into the neck that attach it around the skull, and especially the base of the skull there. So in my particular case, I have visited a relative of mine and had spent some time there because we had a lot of friends and family that came over, and we were sitting and talking in recliners. And just anybody who knows me knows I don't really like recliners, but in this particular case, all they had was recliners. So I'm sitting there talking to friends and family for about 4 hours, to be honest with you. Well, then that night I go to bed, and as I'm in bed, I'm laying there in my bed, and all of a sudden, bam, it hit me, and I woke up and I thought someone was hitting me in the head with a sledgehammer. It hurt so bad. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't hardly think straight when I got up out of bed. And this was about 2:30 in the morning at this point. Well, what I realized as I started working on my head and on the muscles down my neck was that the tension there was immense. So what happened there? Sitting in that recliner forced me to shift my head slightly forward because of the pillow on the back of the head. It put me in a position where my midsection was bending as well. And so that put all the weight of my head forward, which caused the muscles on the front side of my neck here to literally tighten. And because the chairs usually were so fluffy, the rounding of the chair itself caused the shoulders to round as well. So I had two things going on here at the same time. Well, when I lay down in bed, which is flat, okay, by doing that, now all of a sudden, I had these muscles extended as far as they could in that tightened state. And these muscles also were extending as far as they could in that tightened state. And that showed up as pressure on the back side. Now, when you're looking at the neck of the human being, there is a muscle called a levator scapula that runs usually right behind the ear here, comes down your neck and attaches to the inside corner of the shoulder blade. You've got one on each side. It has two purposes. Number one, it allows you to lift your shoulders like this. But number two, it allows you to turn your head back and forth. On the front side of the body, you have two muscles that attach around the ears, and they come down into the collarbone here. And these are called sternocleidomastoids, and I'll make it easy for you. They're usually called SCM. They also react, helping you in turning your head side to side, but also in lifting your head front to back. And so when the muscles here get tight, the head then starts to tilt forward, which is what happened to me sitting in those recliners for so long. That put a lot of strain here because keep in mind, your head by itself weighs about 10 to 12 pounds. and every inch it leans forward, the pressure on the backside increases 10 pounds per inch that it leans forward. That puts a lot of pressure back here. So for that 4 hours, I was probably applying 30 to 40 pounds of pressure on the backside of my neck down between my shoulder blades. And so then on top of that, when the outside chest muscles are tight here, shoulders start to round in, that will force my head to lean forward even more. So that causes a problem, but the pain will always show up on the back side. I mean, even when people have whiplash, the pain is on the back side. The cause is on the front side. And in this case, the cause for mine was on the front side. So as I started to stretch the muscles out here, stretch the muscles out here, and then use a tennis ball to soften the muscles on the backside that had been overworking all that time, I was able within 20 to 30 minutes to not only stop this pain. Now remember, it was like a sledgehammer. I could not believe how bad that was. And I remember when I was a teenager, I had migraines, which luckily I grew out of those by the time I was 21. But I knew the intensity of a migraine. And I'm telling you, this was about as close to a migraine as I can ever remember having. And within 20 to 30 minutes, not only did I stop it, but I was also able to go back to sleep and sleep the rest of the night. And it didn't show up the next day. Now, the next day, I did stretch the front of my neck again and stretch the outside chest muscles and soften the muscles again once I woke up during the day, just to prevent anything else from happening. And oh, by the way, I did not sit in those recliners anymore. That's a killer, I'm telling you. For all of you who have those recliners, I know you love them. Those are killer chairs for the human body. But that's another video for another time. So what I want to talk about today is, what are typical things that people do to try to stop it, and why do they not necessarily work so well? And then I want to go through what I did to help you stop that on your own. And like I said, it worked well for me, and it has a couple of times, which makes it really nice. Now, the thing to think about is, in my case, I was sitting in recliners. You can get the same thing from sitting in front of a computer all day, and it draws your head forward. You're in the same position. You can be riding in your car, have the back of the seat reclined back. You're in the same position. Or you can just be working out and lifting things, which I've done that too. And the muscles here, the traps coming down, again, that levator scapula coming down on the back side of the neck there, that can get tight. And as it gets tight, and along with the muscles here, as well as the chest muscles, you're going to feel that. Now, the funny thing is on the days that I have really worked my chest hard and then worked my shoulders with the traps coming up this way on the side, that's when I noticed a tightness in my neck. And once I stretch out and soften my chest, stretch out my shoulders and get my neck stretched out, I rarely have any issues with soreness or tightness after that. But it's important to understand how to do that. So let's get into some of the treatments you see people do and why do they fail. So the one thing that you'll see a lot of people do, they'll put a heating pad back there at home, or they'll take Tylenol and so forth. And those will help temporarily, because the heating pad will draw more blood to the surface of that tissue, and that will cause the muscles to become pliable, just as if you were using them. And at that point, when you're in so much pain, you'll do anything to get that pain to stop. Pain relievers such as Tylenol and Advil and so forth, they'll block off the nociceptors or turn off the nociceptors that sends messages to the brain that says that we have pain there. That works temporarily, but keep in mind, physically, you haven't done anything to change that. And so those two things are only a temporary thing to give you a momentary peace of mind, so that you can think about some things that you can do with that. Some people will go to a chiropractor, have their neck adjusted. That'll work. It'll work on a short-term basis. But if you remember back, in many cases, you may have to come back 2, 3, 4 times to be able to make that happen. And so what happens with that is that, yeah, the chiropractor did a wonderful job, put you back into place. But the problem is, if the muscles are not stretched out and the muscles are not loosened up the way they're supposed to be, in many cases, by the time you get in your car, the muscles will pull that back out. You could try acupuncture. Acupuncture, again, is something that they can put needles in the neck and so forth. That can cause temporary relief, because the needles in the muscles themselves may cause the brain to relax. And when the brain relaxes, the muscles will relax. That'll help on a temporary basis as well. There's something called dry needling that some people will do. And again, that's pretty similar to acupuncture, in the sense that by placing the needles there, and getting the mind to relax, you get the muscles to relax. And of course, then there's massage therapy. Massage therapy works well, and just like the others, on a temporary basis because you're softening the muscles on the backside. And if you notice in all of these, people are focusing on the pain on the backside. And as they soften the muscles on the backside, it gives you some temporary relief. But because the muscles are tight on the front side, outside chest and the front of the neck, it comes back. Because again, you're having to hold your head up. So imagine if I took a metal ball that weighed 10 pounds and had it in my hand. If I hold it down by my side, it's not that heavy. But if I have to hold it up like this all day long, it becomes really heavy. So when my head is on top of my shoulders, now I've got a good balance between the front and the back of my neck, side to side. So I've got all this in a good spot to be able to hold it. It's pretty easy. But as my shoulders round, my head will go forward as these muscles here tighten and my head goes forward. Now the muscles on the backside are again having to hold that, picture that ball holding up here versus down by your side. And that's going to give you that increased tension. So the mistake for most of the treatment plans that I talked about is that they'll focus on the site of the pain. And it's the opposite side that's causing the pain. So let's get into some things that you can do on a regular basis. I mean, you can do these throughout your day if you want. That will stop that pain and keep it from coming around. Now, one of the first things I would do is when you're working with the front of your neck, everybody can do this. Take your hands, put underneath your chin, and take a moment as your hands are underneath your chin like this. Feel the weight of your head. Again, it weighs 10 to 12 pounds. So just let it rest right in the palm of your hand. Now, you want to inhale through your nose, and as you do that, you're going to begin to lift with your arms. And as you lift with your arms like this here, you're going to slowly breathe out through the mouth. I know what some of you may do is you're going to, and I see this every day, because when people come to see me, I'll say to them, now show me what I taught you last time. And they'll take their hands and they'll push as hard as they can. And if they're not they don't have a chair behind their back, you'll see their whole body lift backwards like that. And I always laugh and say, we're not doing an abdominal thing. What we're doing is we're doing a neck stretch thing. So the idea is that as you breathe out and as you're focused lifting your head up like this, you just want to feel the tension as it starts to begin there. When you start to feel that tension, stop the movement and continue to breathe out for that 5 seconds. Release it, let the head come back down, and then repeat it again 10 times. Now, keep in mind, we're playing with the brain here. So what happens is that each of those 10 times that you do this, you're literally letting the brain see that this is safe, because the brain's going to anticipate the pain on the backside of your neck. And if you push too hard, you're going to get pain. The brain goes, I knew that was going to happen. What we want is to lift up right at the beginning of that tension, breathing out, let it sit for 5 seconds so the brain can go, oh, wait a minute, that didn't hurt at all. And then you release it, and then that allows blood to come back in. And then as you come back up each of those 10 times, what you're doing each time, the brain will allow your head to come up a little bit higher each time, okay? Now, from the back side, your body back between the shoulder blades here, I would get just a plain old tennis ball. You can get them in any grocery store for $4 or $5 for a set of 3. But I would get a tennis ball, put it in a sock. And the reason I put it in a sock is 2 reasons. Number 1, if I drop it, I don't have to chase it. But number 2, when I have the sock, I can throw it over my shoulder like a handle, and I'm going to lean against the wall. And as I lean against that wall, I'm not using the ball to pressurize. Now, a lot of times people say, well, you should use a lacrosse ball or have a ball with spikes on it, or you want a really big hard ball. No. We're not talking about pressure here. What we're talking about is the tennis ball is just going to recognize as you are checking spot by spot of what spots are sore and what spots are not sore. So if you're at the gym and you're rolling back and forth on a foam roller, rolling back and forth on a ball against the wall, the brain has no idea what you're looking for here, because you're moving so quickly and you're creating so much pain that the brain is contracting the muscles trying to stop the pain. So the foam rolling really doesn't work, and the rolling back and forth against the wall really won't work for you either. You want to be able to get to a point that you can check spot by spot so you can pinpoint the sore spot, and as you find that, now you can, once you find it, stay there with the ball, just maintain the pressure. Don't increase the pressure. That'll be the thing that you'll be tempted to do, but don't increase the pressure. Again, breathe in through the nose once you find that spot. Stay there on that spot, then breathe out. Allow the brain to relax so the muscles can relax. If the brain is anticipating pain, the muscles will not relax because you're in the fight or flight response. And so the idea is to allow those things to relax as well. Now, the one thing that you could do with a foam roller is if you lay on the floor, you can take a foam roller that's probably about 6 inches in diameter, maybe 7 inches, and you can put it underneath your shoulder blades so that it's horizontal, working this way underneath your shoulder blades. And then as you lay back, let your head gently come back, and you can spread your arms back this way, and you start to really release here. But don't hold it for long periods of time, okay? You're not at battle with your muscles. What you're at battle with, if you want to use that term battle, is the tension in your body, because the brain is like, is it going to hurt? Is it going to hurt? Is it going to hurt? Oh, there it is. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. And then it tenses up, you see. So the muscles don't have the ability to do anything until the brain tells it what to do. And if the brain anticipates pain, it will do just that. So then with the chest, on the outside of the chest, with that one, the hand will go up behind your head like this. You'll stand in a doorway. You'll stand in a doorway. Your hand will go up behind your head here. The elbow is going to be next to the doorway. So here's a few things don't do. Most people will lean forward because they think they want to get a better stretch. We're not stretching anything, okay? The idea that we're stretching a muscle, making it longer, is ridiculous. It's attached on both ends on the bone. So it's never going to get any longer. What you're releasing is the tension, and that tension comes from everything you think, feel, and do. So when you're in this position in that doorway, you're going to be parallel to the frame. In other words, you're standing right in the doorway here, and you're going to use your feet, and you're going to turn away from the door. So in this case, it's my right arm. I would turn my body to the left. And please, you don't have to crank your neck around to make that happen. Again, we're not pulling taffy here. We're just releasing the tension. So just like with the other exercises we were doing, once you come out in that position and you first start to feel the tension, stop. You've inhaled through the nose, breathe out through the mouth for that 5 seconds. Allow the muscle here to relax and release, and then come back around on the foot. And then repeat that 10 times. And what did I say earlier? The 10 times is about getting the brain to relax so the muscles relax. Here's something to think about. State of mind. Think about if you're upset and angry with somebody, how tight your body gets. Now, think about when you're sitting with your friends, having a coffee, maybe a drink, and you're laughing and joking and talking about things. How soft and relaxed are you? What changed? Your state of mind changed. So the muscles themselves only contract when instructed by the brain based on whatever you're thinking about, whatever emotional state you're in, or whatever you're doing. The brain instructs the muscles to contract. And then once you can free that up and allow the brain to relax, now you can get the tension to relax. That is the true essence of stretching. We are not stretching muscles like we're pulling taffy. We're releasing the tension in the muscle itself. So try those. The one where you're sitting and you're lifting your head this way, you can do that 4, 5, 6 times a day throughout your day. It takes you a few minutes. Heck, I've done it sitting at a stoplight waiting for it to turn green and do 4 or 5 of them just to keep my neck freed up when I do that. But make sure you do those on a daily basis. And you'll find that the pressure on the backside here will be far less. The only thing that applies pressure to your bones are the muscles. Without the muscles working, you would be nothing more than like a quadriplegic where you couldn't move at all. So that's the only thing that applies pressure, and by applying pressure to the bones means you can get up and walk around. So I hope this was helpful for you. If it is, please subscribe down below, ring the bell, so that you get notifications when a new one comes out. And as always, leave me comments. Let me know if there's something more you need or something more you need to know. I'm always happy because I'm here doing this for you to help you live a better, more pain-free life. See you. I hope you enjoyed this last video. Be sure to click on the video here to my left and enjoy.